think it was on the very last day I came in, I said, hey, I had a dream last night, and this is what it was. And it was like Mabel Pennyworth sits in her room tossing pebbles into a teacup. It's a gray, oppressive day, and it's the kind of day that might have inspired a composer like Chopin to write the Raindrop Prelude. Hello, I'm Joey Tremblay, and I am the writer and the director of the Alice Nocturne.
I'm Roger Schultz. I am the production designer for Alice Nocturne.
I'm Johanna Bundon. I'm the movement director for the Alice Nocturne.
Well, I think if we're going to be really honest, the process started about me trying to avoid a really awful process for me, and that's sitting down and writing a play. Because I had, that wasn't feeding me anymore. What was feeding me was being able to work sort of the opposite way by starting with an ensemble and starting with maybe a seed of an idea and working in studio. Like, I think what we've used this week workshop, this intensive workshop, which is a pre-rehearsal workshop, has been about the construction of the dialogue between this triad, between the movement person, between the design visual person, the director, writer, and to make sure that each of those elements has an equal voice.
And to bring in the round too, because that's a part of it that's new too.
Right.
Yeah, we're building a show in a new space.
So it's been like a big laboratory that we've been allowed to come in with the gracious support of the Globe Theatre to do this experiment on a show that they want to mount as their first show of the season.
And Lewis Carroll really speaks that language. Like there's sort of this fluid narration that I remember you talking about that you were inspired by, where there's these crazy transformations that can happen in this world that Lewis Carroll.
Because if you look at the Lewis Carroll Wonderland books, the way you go from one episode to another, it's a very kaleidoscopic kind of way where she can be in a pool of tears which transfers into a swimming race, which transfers into something else very sort of seamlessly. And we were really looking at creating those kind of very interesting transitions. It was always a series of play offers where we would come and go, okay, where can Mabel go now? Who can she meet now? Well, let's make another offer. And so someone would come in, well, what if she meets the Gnat? What if she meets this character? And it was I think what came out like eventually was this play that was built on the notion of playing.
You cannot extract one element without the rest of it collapsing. You know, like the movement cannot be taken away without the whole show, or a props cannot leave without the whole show. Just
falling apart,
crumbling under.
That everything has this really important sense of integration.
I think it's really special for an ensemble to have access to all that information too, like about the movement, about the design, so that they're just as much a part of that conversation, and their offers can be an extension of that really fluid organism also.
Well, that's something you noted not really knowing this ensemble, because a lot of these people are new to you. Was how much they were giving with nothing, with hardly any direction. When we found some of the moments of movement, and it was just basically, can you guys fill this? And all of a sudden they're giving these very sophisticated offers.
It's quite extraordinary.
I think we have a really common vocabulary that I felt manifesting this week.
When I was looking at the piece, I went, oh, what we actually did was make a piece that has as much variety as a vaudeville, and yet it's seamed together with a single narrative.
I feel like the vaudeville form gives you such wonderful permission to, like you said, to go from one act to another act to another act. So physically, that's really interesting to work with, to know that in one show you're not restricted by necessarily one style, but that you can sort of touch on it all. And then the fun part is the weaving together of all those styles, and that actually creates an aesthetic entirely of its own.
Yeah, and something we were interested in looking at is using basically ordinary objects in extraordinary ways, and exposing the artifice of theater, and giving, I guess in a way, giving the audience permission to let their imaginations take them on the Wonderland journey.
I think in a way, it taps into us having created this out of playing. So we're asking, or we're inviting the audience to watch this piece as children would watch it.